Tyler Boyd has seemingly drifted into the abyss. We don't know what happened with that. We don't know where the reports have gone. At one point, they were talking, and then Kansas City was involved. The Jets were involved. Well, Kansas City got Hollywood Brown. Tyler Boyd is still sitting around. Nobody has any idea what's going on with him. Is he going to Kansas City? Is he going to Pittsburgh? Who knows? We'll find out. The Steelers have scheduled a free agent visit with former Los Angeles Chargers wide receiver Mike Williams. Big name, a name everybody wanted. They've already signed Van Jefferson to a deal that we do not know the numbers on just yet. 1-year deal. Mike Williams comes in here, 29 years old, coming off an ACL injury, so a bit of a concern. I mean, you high on this guy? You think it's worth the signing, depending on what the money is, and you think it's a deal that improves the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I'm not very high on Mike Williams. I can't see him. I'm betting against Mike Williams, to be quite honest with you. I just think between the injury history, he's getting up there in age. He's going to turn 30 this season. Maybe before the season starts. I'm not sure, but it's a bit of a gamble. And like you said, it really kind of depends all on the money. I'd take a flyer on him for a cheap contract, 1 year. But I'm not giving him a multi-year deal, and I'm not giving him north of, I don't even know how high I'd go. Maybe like $7 million. Like
I was gonna say $7-8 million bucks.
Right. It's a big gamble for a guy like this who he has had good seasons. But there is a long injury history there going back to his college days that I'm just not sure, especially as he gets older. Like that stuff isn't going to get better, Like you don't get healthier when you get past 30 years old.
Yep.
That just doesn't happen. But I think there's enough potential there. There's enough. I don't know. Like there's enough of a history there of big playmaking, and he can be an explosive threat downfield to make it worth taking a flyer on and exploring. My only thing is that, like, what role does he play in this offense? He's a big play threat, but isn't that George Pickens' job? I guess like if you have George Pickens, do you need another guy who fits in the same kind of role as him? That would be my only question. I feel like if you're going after receivers, you got to look more at reliable slot guys. I guess you do need one more outside guy with Deontay gone, but I feel like they could look at that in the draft too. I think there are perhaps some better options out there as far as starting caliber guys go, guys that you could maybe be a little bit more sure of, or at least maybe have a higher ceiling or could be more consistent than Mike Williams at 30 years old could be.
I agree. I look at it as you signed Van Jefferson. What's Van Jefferson's role? Because if you bring in Mike Williams, you're still probably going to draft somebody, right? Like right. You're not going to look at it and say, all right, 30-year-old Mike Williams, that's our guy. That's it. That's what we need. Sounds good. You already have Calvin Austin. You're going to hope that Calvin Austin takes a step forward. Don't know what's going to happen there, but you're going to hope that he takes a step forward. So you want him to be involved. Maybe he's your slot guy. If you don't sign Tyler Boyd, maybe that's how you look at it. And maybe Mike Williams is your starter opposite of George Pickens while you let a veteran sit in front of a rookie. Maybe that's how you look at it. I don't know. I think it's setting themselves up for success right now without any holes when it comes to the NFL draft. But at the same time, like what was your priority? I think it brings into question what the priority was at wide receiver, because we looked at it and like a couple of days ago, we're talking about, you look at the NFL draft, you need an offensive tackle, you need a center, you need a wide receiver, you need a corner, you need a defensive tackle. And you barely have that many picks. What was the priority list? Are you going to avoid an offensive tackle because, you have Dan Moore Jr.? Are you going to, hope that a center's there? Who knows? I look at it now and say, maybe that's center, or maybe that's wide receiver. Maybe they're cool with waiting until the 4th round on a wide receiver or the 3rd round on a wide receiver. And if that's the case, I'm not upset about that. I think you can find really good wide receivers in the 3rd and 4th round. I think it happens all the time. And you have a much better opportunity to find talented wide receivers in those 3rd, 4th rounds than you do at corner or, offensive tackle or even center. So if that's your thought here, totally fine. But it makes me curious what it indicates more than what it brings to the team. I think Mike Williams is, fine. If you're going to put him opposite of George Pickens and you're just going to say, all right, Russ, go deep. Sounds good. Have a good time. This is all you're going to do. Go balls, go balls, go balls. And then Calvin Austin is your like utility slot guy. Cool. I think that puts a lot of pressure on Calvin Austin, but hopefully he's up for the challenge. And I think it leaves you one. Your rookie has to be able to do everything, and I think that leaves a bit of a hole. Like he's got to be able to play slot, and who knows if he's going to be able to.
Right. It puts a lot of pressure on a rookie who we don't know who it is, like you said.
Yeah.
And Calvin Austin, which we don't know what he is yet either. Yep. And we don't I don't even know what Calvin Austin's ceiling, what I would say Calvin Austin's ceiling would be, you know?
No,
he
idea.
Could be, you know, this great Swiss Army knife that can run jet sweeps and can catch the occasional deep ball, can be a bit of a possession receiver, throwing short and making yards after the catch. But, you know, after his rookie year, he wasn't a huge part of the offense. I understand he's sitting behind some veterans and the quarterback play wasn't the greatest, but I think it's still a giant question mark. You're just leaning on two not very sure things. If you are leaning on Mike Williams and Calvin Austin to be starting wide receivers for, you know, a Russell Wilson that you don't exactly know what you're going to get from him either. It's just a lot of question marks going into a pretty important season, which would not make me feel super comfortable.
Do you think if they sign Mike Williams that Tyler Boyd's off the board?
I would have to imagine, right? I mean, I guess it always depends on what the money is, but I mean, you're getting to the point where you almost have not too many wide receivers, but it just seems a little like why do you need to sign Mike Williams if you get Tyler Boyd? You know, and the other way around. Like I don't think Tyler Boyd would be on the board if you get Mike Williams. I just think that would be not a great allocation of resources if you're already going to invest some money in Mike Williams. I think you got to start looking at other positions as well to throw that money around, because you might have to start thinking about you know, signing a center, signing an offensive tackle. Because you're still leaving a hole open at wide receiver, and it's just, are we going to double dip in free agency on that position and leave the rest of it up to the NFL draft? That seems a little risky as well.
Yeah, to go into, I mean, they might go into the season with that. That's like a real possibility that they go into the season with a rookie center and a rookie right tackle, which, I mean, the upside to that moving forward is very promising. Right now, it's very concerning. You know, your rookie season to have two guys out there concerning. But I agree. I think Boyd comes off the table just because you're probably competing with them and you're going to have to offer him a bigger deal. I think you could get a smaller name, like again, a Hunter Renfrow. I think is going to go for nothing. And I think you could possibly sign him for like $3 million and Mike Williams for like $7 million. And sounds good. Just because, like, I mean, unless Mike Williams is chasing the money, you're not going to Carolina. Like it was him and the Jets. Like the Jets, cool. I get the Jets thing. But I'm still going to Pittsburgh. Like, I'm definitely going to Pittsburgh over Carolina, and I still think I'm going to Pittsburgh over New York because, I mean, New York is a lot, and you're paying a lot of taxes. So I think that's, you know, you're going to look at the financials to that side and the opportunity to both sides. I think Pittsburgh just outweighs both of them. If that's the move and you can get somebody super cheap at the slot, cool, I get it. But I do think that it's like a weird, like Van Jefferson made sense as the last wide receiver, you know? And Van Jefferson stinks. Like he's not a reliable wide receiver, but it made sense as your like replace Miles Boykin. Now you're looking at it like he's going to replace Miles Boykin, but like you're going to have two Miles Boykin. Is Mike Williams your next? Is he your Calvin Austin now? Is he your Allen Robb? Like who is this guy? What is he going to do? I think it's a big question mark. I think it's a weird. It's cool. It's a good opportunity if the Pittsburgh Steelers are just saying, "Screw it, we got money to spend. We're going to spend it." Okay, you know you can never have too much talent, but I think it doesn't make as much sense as I think it did like a couple days ago, or it did before the Van Jefferson signing. So I think where they stand now is a bit strange. I wouldn't rule either one of them. I think at some point this week it's just going to be boom headline: Pittsburgh Steelers signed so and so wide receiver. It's like, all right, cool. Sounds good. Feels like they're last. And then a center. At some point.